everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, August the 5th, 7:42 p.m. Thank you to the 20 people live right now. Appreciate you guys joining in. I'm here with Paola and John. A really big show today. Definitely, we undefeated in 7 games, I believe, in all competitions. Um, a lot of goals. Ramiro Enrique in a phenomenal season. And we defeated Atlético San Luis in penalties. We eliminated Atlético San Luis in penalties with 10 men almost the whole entire game. And we'll discuss all of that and more. For starters, John, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. Monday, we're here, the three of us talking Orlando City. What's not to like?
That's right. What are you, Paula?
Same as John. Happy to be back. Us three, the three amigos talking about Orlando City. And I'm excited of what can bring us this Leagues Cup tournament. So let's see.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be facing tough competition. Now that we actually made it to the round of 32s, we're going to be facing a powerhouse again. This one has a history of choking. I do want to say it has a history of choking. Cruz Azul. There's a term in Mexican jargon, in Mexican slang, that it's Cruz Azuleada, which means it's kind of like a way of saying it, you're choking, because this team always chokes. Now, they're doing really good in their domestic, position and all of that, but we'll discuss this on Thursday. But we're going to be facing them now. But we're coming hot, we're coming scoring a lot of goals. Ramiro Enrique in top shape. We're going to be reviewing today the Atlético San Luis game completely, and then, the running of the wall part two. I know. That was the running of the wall part two. So drop us your comments. Thanks to everyone that's joining in on Instagram as well. Someone that's joining in on YouTube and on X. Miss Francis says, it's great seeing the gang back together. Yeah, thank you so much. I was pretty sick. So I don't know. My daughter gave me this bug and it was just not good. I and then and then we had flooding here in the Tampa area. And so it was impossible for me to make it to the game, but I did watch it. I'm glad I didn't lose power or anything, and my house didn't get flooded, so I'm happy about that. But with just getting over being sick to putting sandbags, it's really not the best way to spend your weekend. But yeah, other than that, we're gonna be talking about the Atlético San Luis game. So for starters, John, what were your first impressions on the game?
I think it just, like I predicted, we were better than them. It they got a red card and down to 10, so that really helped them, and it made them, be able to get into the game more than I think if we'd just played 11v11. But regardless, we still get the results. The attendance was disappointing, but that's not surprising. And yeah, I think it was just business as usual. We always kind of knew that we were going to get a good enough result or enough of a result here to go through, whether it was going to be one or two. I didn't see us not going through. I just think that red card changed everything. And the ref, whether it was going to be one or two, I didn't see us. He was a small nightmare.
Yeah, sorry about that. I know I had some audio issues. I could hear John twice, but I got it fixed. No, totally. We're gonna be and you, Paula. What are you for starters? What were some of the takes that you get from the game? Do you ended up watching the game?
Yeah, I was watching it, and I agree with John. After that red card, everything changed. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see the Orlando City team that we have been playing for the couple of last games. I don't know if because they were comfortable, right? Because win or not or lose, we were gonna be in the next phase of the round of 32. But I think that red card messed us a little bit. And but even though came, we composed, we were determined on winning, and it could have been worse. The thing is that San Luis didn't had a lot of attacking, but when they were uh, in the attacking phase, they were a little bit of dangerous, but they couldn't execute a lot of goals. So I have seen better teams, and I hope that they were just comfortable in playing um, yesterday night. So I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, well, I mean, we're gonna be going over all the ins and outs of the game. Obviously, I have some of the B-roll that the club provided to us, so appreciate to the club. But I do want to say that that foul to me was not that was a yellow card. That wasn't to me. That was bullshit. Sorry, I used that language, but I mean it was just. I mean this is the. I don't know if they're trying to compensate the fact that a lot of Liga MX teams are losing and they're getting eliminated. So I don't know if they're, trying to level the playing field. And here comes poor, small marketed, in quotation marks, Orlando with some of their fan base, protesting and raising their pitchforks and stuff, standing for what's right, for them and all of that. And hey, we're just gonna level the playing field here, right? I don't know. I mean, you want to be a negative Nancy on those things, but this guy had a lot of bad calls in this game, in my opinion. I don't know what were your thoughts from the beginning, John, regarding that.
Yeah. I mean, I let the ref know my thoughts several times during
He
this
belonged. He
game.
belonged on OBT.
Oh, yeah, way down on OBT, man. It was bad. I gotta say, I always expect a certain level of like incompetence, and this one was just
but
outrageous.
this
It's
was
got
his
it,
worst.
it was
Yeah.
it
He
was
won the silver
horrific.
medal.
And that he not only look, Kyle puts his hand on him. You want to call that a red card? Fine. The guy flies onto the ground. There's, contact. He is the last man. If you're gonna call it dogso and that a foul, fine, whatever. I've seen it. That's one. But he also missed like so many fouls by them. I mean, if I'll show you the stats, it's kind of crazy. Luis, you'll see they had you can see here 16 fouls to our 9, and they had one yellow card to our 2, and obviously we had one red card and they had nothing. So it not only was it bad, but it was constantly bad against us. There was one tackle I remember in the second half where he flew in on Nico, and Nico
Yep.
like
I was
like
thinking
went
about that.
through the air, like he got launched, like knocked so far, and he wouldn't even call a yellow card. And then he was giving us like 2 yellow cards. Like I think one for Jansen for dissent right after the red card, but the other one was completely unnecessary, not a yellow card. So it was really bad from the ref. And
They
usually
kept.
I don't like to talk about the refs because I'm just tired of how bad they are, but this one has to be pointed out that it was just the wrong calls or missed calls all night. Oh, and
And
also he went over to the wrong VAR screen. That was
that's right.
that was that was pro move where he like made the VAR guy, the other guy,
Yeah,
take the little like rain cover off and
he's
turn the
like,
screen around so that he could look. I was like, bro, like there's a whole section on the other side of the field for you. But
guys,
anyway, yeah, rants about
that
the ref over.
that cover, John, it looked like a plastic bag. I was
The
like,
man had his setup all right, and then the guy, like, I would have been like, bro, you got a little box over there. That's your go VAR over there.
wow. Well, anyways, let's read some comments here. David Albury, thank you so much. The red card was bullshit and such a soft foul. John, you weren't wrong about them being floppers. That's right. Yep. There were
I mean,
definitely.
it's a team from Mexico. Expect flopping.
David Albury says this ref was garbage. Victor Sanchez can't wait for the MLS to come back. I know, right? I mean, it's not like it's gonna get any better, but we're gonna be going to the analysis real quick. But before that, I'm gonna show you guys some pictures, and I want you guys to tell me, you know, was the first thought, regarding the game, right? So based on this game, what do you think of this guy right here? To me, he probably got a 9 out of 10 game. I mean, just being down 10, um, playing, and it's not because he's Peruvian, I'm just saying. I point out when he plays crappy. I point out when he plays great. But I think against this team, he was solid right there as a center back today. I think he was like David says, an absolute beast. I don't know what your thoughts, Paul, of Cartagena's performance.
I mean, every time that he needs to step up as a center back, he does the job really well. Like, people need to understand that that is not his regular basis position. He's a midfielder, and I like when he said, like, I feel secure when he's playing center back, and it's not like other players that I'm like, please don't commit. When it's Wilder there, I feel calm. So that's what I saw on last night's match, and he almost scored. Like, imagine having that game plus scoring a goal, a header goal. But unfortunately, it didn't get in. But I know that he's gonna get a goal soon. I know that he is.
No, this guy right here, John, when I saw Duncan coming in the second half, I was just like, man, another great goal. It seems that those three up front seem to be working just fine. Ojeda on the left, and this time it was Fakwa on the right, and then you had Ramiro right there coming as a number 9. Thoughts on his wonderful performance?
I mean, it's a record, right? The club just an hour ago put a
Yeah.
really cool graphic out. Shout out to the new social guy who does these like clever Instagram pictures where it makes one big picture. Sorry, on Twitter. It says Ramiro Enrique 6 straight games with a goal, new club record. So yeah, David Aubrey says man on fire, 100%. He is on fuego, and he's just his intelligence in the final third really is impressive, and I think his ability to be in the right place at the right time, and just he doesn't like hesitate when those chances come. This goal especially, he actually gets the setup, like he's got the MLS assist, as it were, on this own goal. So it shows not only is he scoring and constantly just on fire at the moment, but he's a big part of the way that we're building with Ojeda in that attack as well.
Now, I do want to say that obviously this man is very talented. He had it in him all along. Obviously, a lot of people are not used to, when you make a signing like his, you expect, the utmost greatness for him to go Jack Grealish level, or, or like, go gun ho and start scoring a lot of goals right away. But, and we mentioned here in the pod before, these players that Orlando City got, there are players that are great players. There's one of them that just became a champion, which is Gaston Gonzalez. He became a champion in Uruguay. Also, kudos to Mauricio Pereira, who also became a champion. They're both playing the same team in Uruguay, Nacional. So there are players that have that DNA of doing things like Ramirez doing right now, 6 straight, but it takes a little time, and because they've come for such small clubs back home, clubs that are not used to uh, the lights like maybe Orlando has. And even though I wouldn't say Orlando is like a big market, but there's no pro rel here, so it's a little different here. You still get the big bright lights, and you get also the fandom that questions every move you make. And so in those clubs that were there back home, there's really not a lot of that for those clubs. So now I think he's getting used to not only the pressure, he's getting used to the system, and he's getting used to his teammates, and everything is sinking well. So I'm happy of this improvement of Ramiro Enrique. To me, great. I don't know. Now, before we dive into the analysis of the game, I want to ask you, John, do you feel like maybe we should get still another striker? Do you feel now after Duncan, and just to kind of throw it out there, and then Paula can reply too. Duncan obviously came back from Ewansman's youth national team duty at the Olympics. Unfortunately, they play against one of the best teams there, Morocco, which lost against Spain today. Um, do you think Duncan was still leaving? And I think he's going to renew.
No, I think
You think he's still leaving?
he's well. Anyway, I think we got him under extension till like 26. So I think it's not a case of renewing. I think it's a case of like him accepting a better contract. But right now
No.
he's older than 22, so we couldn't really do that. I still think he's gonna go.
Who, Duncan?
But yeah, I still think he's gonna go this summer if the right deal comes in for him. But I would say that I don't think we need to go sign a striker. Definitely Enrique, and we've still got Muriel, who didn't even come off the bench for this
Yeah,
one.
no, right?
And then obviously Jacqueline as well. It's still a good backup option to have. So I would say, really, I would just like to see more of the youth players getting chances than us necessarily needing to go out and get a new signing. Like I would like to go and get more players always, but I don't know if we're gonna do that. Maybe we'll just give more minutes to Kaczewski and more minutes to Sakata and Gusk and Freeman. Like maybe finally Oscar feels like some of these guys are really ready to step up, and we don't feel the need to go out and get another striker or another player at all. We're just gonna bring the ones up that we already have. Who knows?
What about you, Paula?
I mean, if Duncan leaves, I don't feel that we need another striker. I think we need to decide a good defensive player in the back. Right now, like Smith, he's in a red card. What is his situation? Who's gonna cover that in the next game? And I think a midfielder, attacking midfielder, or something like that. I don't feel that we need another striker, to be honest, if Duncan leaves. But like John said, I think it's the time to see academy players, but at the same time, we're coming from a place that we were not in good standing in the league. So we're trying to battle and we're in the 7th place and we want to be better. So I don't know if they need to get out in the market and look for that missing piece if we're not signing another striker. I think we don't need another striker. I think we need a bigger piece to the puzzle to get us even better into the next step. I don't know about you, Luis, if you think that way, but
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need a we need another center back or a center back that plays right or left wing or could play both wings. I just feel like that's something that we desperately need because we saw Jensen coming off, getting then you have Rodrigo and then you have Brecalo. Brecalo look a little off certain times. Then it got better, but then Dagger the whole entire game. Vitinho cooked him. Like that the Mexican midfielder Vitinho almost scores. Actually, Vitinho is the one who curved the ball for the header for the draw for the tie for San Luis. So he had Dagger's number, and he didn't seem to get any help. He was just kind of fending by himself. So um, we still have a couple of our, we didn't see Luca Petrasso or anybody like that. So I think that's really
Well, he
neat.
was cooking Kyle Smith, not Dagger, right? Because he was on the right side.
Right. Well, I mean, he was everywhere, but I mean, I know.
Yeah, but it was mainly Kyle that was
Right. Kyle was
struggling
getting
with his
cooked
pace.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but Dagger also was getting cooked. I feel by he had a couple of good balls in my opinion, but it wasn't his best game. I don't know if you differ from that, John, but I didn't think he had a good game.
Well, I think it changes, right? I think when we went to the five back, then he's playing the full wing back. So that his entire wing is pretty much his. So I would say he did have a very good game because he has to compensate for not having a winger in front of him, right? So Brekalo shifted over. We went to the three back. I think he played pretty well considering we're gonna get cooked at times by guys like
Yeah.
Coutinho. He's a Brazilian young 23-year-old. Like they just churn a million of those guys out. They're all over South America. You're gonna have some players like that can do stuff, but I think it was more just the fact that we were struggling. Like if you think about the center mid, really, it was only Cesar who was in like the mid holding position. You had
Which it
Baku.
wasn't bad, believe it or not.
No, not at all.
I
But
was surprised.
you've got Ojeda and Torres as the kind of covering center mid type wingers at that point, who were the only thing in front of Cesar in that back five. So I think they did pretty well considering the pressure they were under. Like that second half was just all momentum to San Luis, and that's going to happen when they have a man up and they're fighting to get that goal back.
And then like you were saying, just having that one man being completely sent off, it kind of threw everyone for a loop. But on those key positions that before we would struggle to create attacking plays, actually, Cartagena was on point. Araujo actually was really on point, even though they were really hitting Araujo bad. I mean, they were tackling him, and they were not calling any fouls on Araujo. It was pretty frustrating. And but anyways, we're gonna read some comments, and then we'll go dive into the analysis. James Rodriguez is available, says Victor Sanchez. I mean, that would be a good pickup, but I don't know if he wants to play MLS. He said he wants to play Europe, so
We got Ojeda right now.
Dagger
We don't
Dan.
need James.
Yeah, Miss Francis says Dagger Dan may have played well, but he wasn't on fire like we have grown to expect from him in this season. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah, I mean he did. I mean, if you think about it, like John was saying, yeah, it makes sense. He
Well, I
was
just
doing
don't
the
think he's able to go into the attack like he usually would because
yeah
he
he
has
was
to
doing the
defend
double
so much.
duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing the double duty when he was a man down, and makes a lot of sense. But anyways, we'll dive into the analysis here. So this is how Orlando lined up, 4-2-3-1, which seems to be working fine. So Oscar says he was wearing a black Adidas jacket throughout this game, guys. Paola, but he was wearing white underneath.
He took it off at some point.
Yeah, he had to take it off. So please, let's not
Well,
lose this.
it was probably his rain jacket. The man was like standing in the rain,
Yeah.
right? The white T-shirt was there. It had to be
Yeah,
under the rain jacket.
It doesn't
yeah.
matter where it is. The importance is was there.
He didn't want to get it wet.
Yeah, you don't want white, wet. That's not
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah,
mix well.
not a good
yeah.
combo.
It doesn't mix well, and then you can see Oscar's tattoos. No, I'm just kidding. There you go. All right.
Just one change, but that midfield's been so key for OCB
You know,
Orlando City.
Like, look at our bench. Our bench is stacked with OCB.
Yeah, man. Colin Gus getting the call up for
Colin
this one.
Gusk, yeah. Kudos to Colin Gusk, man. Congratulations.
This is gonna sound bad, but I forgot about Felipe Martins being
OC
I
Orlando
know,
City.
right?
Wow.
There you go. Felipe
When I was
was
thinking
doing-
about D mids we could bring on late in the game, I was like, maybe they'll bring on Felipe.
No, I was thinking about Giorgio.
Yeah,
And,
Giorgio is getting picked before him now.
I know, so I feel bad now. Bye.
No, they gotta give my boy Yutaro Sukada, bro. I need to see
Sakata.
I need to see Sukada right there with Ojeda and Torres, man. One of these days, if Angulo, wants to take a breather, I say we put Sukada in, man. Let's see.
City.
Well, Cartagena and Amaru's tactical change at halftime against Montreal made a difference. He moved Dorado into the mid.
And then from Atletico San Luis, Vitinho was the best player. And then Sanabria, I guess he was another one that was a pretty. That was the one that was bothering Kyle Smith. And Macias and Chavez did good too. They had a couple of players, but they're a mid-tier team there in
midfield in that
Mexico.
second half.
Now, I know I saw when you were solo, John. That is completely true. They're owned by Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
They even copy their kit.
Yeah, I was not aware of that. I never put two and two together. And then it was, I think, Stream Jesus who was talking about it.
Yeah.
And then you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, same colors, same name. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, when I heard it, I'm like, oh.
So,
But I want to know, did they rebrand when they did that? Was they always red and
yes,
white, or
they
did
added
they change the
the
colors and added the name?
they rebranded, and then they
Wow,
they
how American of
rebranded,
them.
and then they added Atletico
Yeah, what was it? Just San Luis before?
San Luis.
Wow.
Yeah, they added
Well,
Atletico right there.
you
Well,
know, they didn't get Griezmann, so it didn't
I
help.
know it. I mean, it would have been cool, right? Cool for them, but not for us.
It's
Yeah.
that's cool.
Hopefully, he doesn't go to LAFC, man. Griezmann, come to Orlando, Griezmann.
I will be really mad if LAFC gets him.
That is the most typical MLS signing of all time. Griezmann's the LAFC.
Griezmann to Orlando City 2025. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Griezmann, come on. You know you want to come over here. There you go.
I was gonna say we flick it to Ojeda, and that would have been perfect.
Look, to me, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what's your thoughts, Paula. It's a selfish play by Facundo Torres.
Yeah, it is.
It is a selfish play. This should have ended up in a goal.
It is, because you can, I mean,
Ramiro,
I don't blame him.
And look at Ojeda. Like,
I
bro.
know, but then I was like, Facu, you should have put that into the net. But then I saw Ojeda like, hey, I'm standing by myself. What are you doing? And I'm like, Facu.
He could leave that left pass with his left foot right there. I mean, he had it perfectly.
With his dominant foot, and he didn't.
What do you think about that, John?
The thing is,
it's a bad decision.
Well, the thing is, Facu gets in this position all the time, and he'll score that. So I understand that he's got eyes for goal, but when you look back at it, it's like, oh god, Ojeda was completely look at his arms there. He's completely open. So considering that he was that wide open,
my thoughts, John. My thoughts.
Facu has an issue with looking down before he does a lot of the stuff. He doesn't always lift his head before and if he had, maybe he would have seen Ojeda there.
I commend Ojeda for staying so calm.
Hindsight, it looked really obvious.
I will commend for not saying anything to him. Probably at halftime, or maybe he did. But
also Ojeda is guilty of doing that all the time as well. So I think we could all look up a little bit more and look for the pass.
Yeah, that's true.
From Orlando.
Right there, look, he's like, "Hey, you're gonna pass it to me?"
Oh,
look.
Ramiro wants it back as well, by the way.
Wow. I saw it.
Damn, I didn't saw Ramiro. Ramiro was right there too.
He had you got Cartagena too, right there.
As a third, yeah. Like, imagine if Facu would have tipped it to Enrique, then Ojeda. I know, but imagine.
It's 1-0 in 4 minutes and Facu's on fire, It's just hindsight.
How do you miss that? Like, well, anyways.
Great start though. We were all over them.
Yeah,
in that first 5-10 minutes.
The press, in attack, it really caught this small Mexican team off guard, and
Torres.
Now, and this is where this guy started growing. Now, to anybody that said he needed to go and be benched, this is your answer.
Uchi Galese makes the save. Vitinho with the efforts. Seems
There,
like
I
his name
said it.
always comes up in transfer talks, but he stayed here with Orlando.
They did
a
the
crucial player
Galese wave
for
off
City.
right after that
And
one.
now Vitinho.
Like now, now you do now they're doing the Galese wave.
Yeah.
2 months ago, they're like, "Oh, you gotta trade him, man, trade him." You
He's
know,
back. He's back with a
it's like
vengeance,
it's like
man.
it's like it reminds me of Barabbas. You know, it's like who do you want, Jesus or Barabbas? Barabbas. We want Barabbas. Like, come on, man. Like, and then they don't like when they're called out about it. It's okay.
He could be in on goal, trying to use
There
his
you go.
pace.
Look at that. Oh
Vitinho.
man.
Vitinho, he cuts across.
Now, right there, he has his arm on his left shoulder. Well, kind of his arm. He's not holding him. Just has his arm on top of it, and I don't see any contact from behind.
Across.
He just so he feels the contact, and he falls.
Well, he goes in front of him intentionally as well. Like he
The path
falls across in front of him. And also Kyle kind of is falling as well. It's just a bit of a mess.
Now, is he? I mean, yeah. I mean, the rule says if you're the last person, you're the last defender. And if you tackle from behind, it should be an immediate red.
Cross.
So VAR deemed that this was a red
The
card.
path of Smith. He does.
To me, this was a yellow card because to me there was no contact from behind. To me, it was just more of a contact of him kind of grabbing his elbow, his shoulder. I don't know, Paula. What do you think?
I mean, I saw worse in that game, and he didn't even pull out the yellow. So for me, this is just a yellow card and not a red card. And if you play the video again, it's like sideways. It's not even from behind. If it was from behind,
Vitinho, he cuts across.
that dude would eat real grass, not flop. So it was just a yellow card. Like John said earlier, when Vitinho pushed intentionally Nico, he didn't receive a yellow card, and that was way worse than this because Nico was like flying Superman in the grass. So, I mean, it sucks that we have to
Path of
get
Smith,
this
he
type
does
of
it really
call,
well.
but
No, he wants to get onto his left foot anyways, but he
it
Oh,
is
there you
what
go.
it
There you
is,
go. There you
man.
go. There you go. There you go. We're gonna see
It is
now.
sideways. Look, sideways.
You see right there now.
the equation.
Is there contact from behind? So is his foot on his? I don't see it. I don't know.
He puts his hand on his shoulder, and
Yeah.
that's enough. And like
Intention, you feel. So that's probably why the ref
these
said,
guys will look for, and they
Equation.
did it all game. Any kind of contact, they
Yeah.
fell down, and the ref fell for it every single time. And this one, I think the guy Vitinho, if you watch where he ends up on the floor, they call it a dive. He literally dives, like he slides on the ground with his two hands in front of him.
Yeah,
It's
right
the
there. Look,
definition of a dive.
look.
Like,
He
so
thought that he was in track and field in the Olympics trying to win.
100%. But I
Anyways,
think
but he takes
Kyle
Smith out
can't
of
put his arm on him
the
because
equation.
he's gonna go down, and the ref's a moron, and he's gonna give it. And I think we still haven't learned that lesson when we play these teams that do this, that you give them anything, they will try and buy a free kick.
Yeah. So Kyle Smith's gonna miss a round of 32. Unfortunately. Did you jump, John? Did you throw your beer like Uncle Steve Austin? What did you do when this happened?
I think I screamed something like "F yes" and get in there. It was just nice because having watched them ball about the whole time and us being down the 10 players, I think it was like right before a halftime. And I actually remember right before this moment going, oh, if we score now, it'd be so sweet. And then Enrique put it in, and I was just like, gets in. I just really felt like if we're gonna have a chance of getting someone out of this game, we still had the like chances to score in that first half. We look like the better team in a weird way, even though we went down to 10 for the most of that first half. And the sort of momentum shows that. And then the second half was a bit of a different story. We were kind of holding onto our butts from
we have this game, like we were gonna win, but at the same time, I don't want to go scoreless against San Luis, and boom, there was San Enrique making that golazo. So I was happy.
57 people live. Thank you so much for watching us. Appreciate you. This is Loud and Proud Orlando. We're here with John and Paola and myself. Thank you so much. Stream Jesus says, Jesus or Barabbas? Come on, Lewis. I know. Sorry, man. I caught a straight bullet. By the way, this is Pareja did not use a white t-shirt. Rumors say that had Matt Pitt stain. No, he did use a white t-shirt. He did.
it's just hiding under the jacket.
Yeah, 5 times used, no more. No, I think he
He wanted to do like Superman with the jacket and say, "Hey, I have the white T-shirt."
We'll
and
get
we
him one of
won."
those Hanes multi-packs, then he'll be good.
Now, quick question, and then I wanted to ask you, John, and then we'll ask Paola if she feels the same way. A lot of people I've been reading online, and I know you have to take with a grain of salt sometimes what you read. There were people saying, "Oh, we're gonna park the bus again," and in my mind, I'm like, "Bro, I don't feel I didn't feel we were parking the bus. I feel we did start parking the bus when we made Kochevsky come in at that point, but and we saw Muriel did not come in. So, and but after we got the red, Orlando got the red card. I didn't feel we parked the bus, but even if we would have, let's say we're gonna be playing against Cruz Azul, a much better team than this one. I mean, it is a strategy to park the bus in certain circumstances, don't you think, John? I mean, I wouldn't blame Oscar for parking the bus if you're down 10, especially in a competition like this. That is just, you lose, you're eliminated. You know what I mean?
I think you have to make a sacrifice, whatever you do. You could keep playing the 4-2-3-1 if you want and not have a winger. But I like what he does where it goes to the 5 back, because it means that like your 2 wing backs are able to double up and be both. And then you're able to keep he managed to keep Ojeda and Facu out there and Enrique, and they were the 3 that kind of combine and get the goal and would be able to do something up front. Like, you have to have some kind of attack. I think they're in this, when your response is to completely defend, you end up looking like Japan against USA in the Women's Olympics, right? Like, you just sat back so deep all the time, you can't ever get out. You have to have some kind of out ball, some kind of out strategy, some kind of let's actually have somebody. So I like the way that we shifted into that as a reaction. And I think at some point, probably like you said, that was around about the Kochevsky time, 70th, after they scored, after they got the equalizer, It's like, okay, they could get another one. Like, we don't want that. Let's just shut it down now. You can't shut it down when Kyle Smith got sent off. And I don't think he tried to, but you can around the 70th minute and do it for 20 minutes, whether it's comfortable or not. It never is, but you can do it.
What about you, Paula? What do you think?
I mean, we were playing for more than 61 minutes with 10 men against 11 men. That's the reality. So don't expect that we are going to attack all the way with 11 men, because that's not going to happen. And even though that we were playing with 10 men, we did had a little bit of momentum in the attacking play. So I think people needs to understand what will happen if we play with 10 men against 11, that we're not gonna see a lot of attacking. We're trying not to let them score. So it's not the park the bus part, because we didn't park the parked the bus until what 88 minute, something like that. So it wasn't that we were trying not to let them score. Let's say like that, but we still attacked. When we park the bus, we don't even try to attack. So I think people need to have that differential in the field so they can understand what is park the bus or not.
No, I agree completely. You know, there's gonna be times that we're gonna have to play a little extra defensively, and we'll discuss more of that. When we preview Cruz Azul, but
And at times like this, that it's good that Oscar has drilled our team to be so good defensively because
correct.
other teams can't do that. Like some teams just can't play like that at all. So when that happens to them, they're screwed. But we're able to kind of hang in there.
Let's keep watching and see who's header too.
Okay. Just bounced off him. He gets himself back towards the middle of the goal. He's just waiting for it.
Dagger kind of blocking the guy off.
Right, yeah. Kind of like look like a basketball screen,
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
pivot turn.
like a
Little
little,
zone,
like a
little
little,
zone.
like a little, like a little, like a little.
They were playing zone right there.
No, right? They're playing zone right there. Yeah, there you go.
Dagger's been watching the Magic.
Trying to advance on.
Yeah, they're playing the Magic. Exactly.
For Bolly, who hands it off, and it's moved out wide quickly. Chance to shoot from distance, and gobbled up by Galese.
Now, because of weather conditions, what do you think about the pitch? I mean, people from Apple TV said the pitch looks beautiful. But then when Galese had that knee, when he started rolling on his knee, he hit something you could see the grass popping up. So
a whole chunk came out when he did that.
Yeah.
He left his knee in that part of the field.
But you got to understand, it had been raining so much, and I think it held up really well. When it's that wet and you slide, you're just gonna rip it right off. But you can't really help that. I think considering the weather conditions, it looks pretty good.
Correct. All right, let's continue watching.
But I'm not a grass expert. I don't know.
No, I mean the people from Apple TV were saying that the pitch looked great. Now, exactly what you said, John.
Did you?
It's been raining all day, and we've seen other pitches that look like lagoons and look like lakes, freaking flooded. And this one, it's perfect.
Did you notice, like the Atlético de San Luis center mid? I think it was 13 or something. He kept pointing at the ground, like every time.
Rodrigo.
I can't remember. He kept pointing at the ground every time, like the ref would make a call against him, and I was like, "Are you talking about the turf?"
That's Rodrigo Dorado.
Yeah, that's the guy who scored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was annoying me. But do you notice every time he made a foul, the ref called him back? He'd just like scream and point at the floor.
Yeah, he was complaining about the pitch.
So he was okay. I was like, what is he on about?
Yeah, but I mean, look, we could sit here and I could show you some pitches that you will never in your life say, how is this pitch deemed for professional soccer? I could show you a couple in Peru. They have holes in the ceiling. They have a bucket right there. The water is falling down. They give the players ponchos so they can sit in like white, those white chairs, those plastic white chairs, those metal, the chairs they use for wrestling, those black chairs. Yeah. So, I mean, I think each country its own, Yes, turf is not the best, but I mean, I think this pitch held really great. And Apple TV was saying, and it's like, we've been, this weather has been crazy in every city that we've been, but here the pitch is perfect. It is wet, so obviously the ball's gonna move faster, and it's gonna make the actual game a little faster, but it's in great condition. So, and that's per Apple TV. That's not even me.
Say Dagger could have been a little quicker to close him down there, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
for
know.
sure.
It was just a bit. They're gonna have some moments like that.
And full time meant San Luis automatically eliminated, and this is something that I noticed on the TV. The camera points at the uh, San Luis's players, and the captain says, "Why are we doing the shootout if we already lost? We don't need to do it." Like he said it in Spanish. I read his lips. He said, "But why are we doing this? There's no point. We're already lost. We're not going through. Like, can we just skip it? Like straight up, like straight up to the to the to the ref, and the ref is like, no, you have to. You have to do it. It's part of the spectacle. Espectaculo, right? It's part of the game." And then he walks off. He's like, whatever. And then their coach was already setting everybody for the shootout, but the players didn't want to do the shootout because it's like, this is stupid. It's like,
Pointless.
yeah, you know.
I mean, I
And
agree.
on the other hand, Orlando had the mentality of they wanted to win it either way, no matter what. And I commend that attitude.
Good practice, right?
Yeah.
Always good practice. But it was the second pointless penalty shootout of the weekend after Pride on Friday night. That was also a pointless penalty
No,
shootout.
I don't think it was pointless. I think they.
Well, I'm just saying that, like, apart from points on a group stage, and like there was no real meaning behind this penalty shootout, right? Like either we won or lost, we were playing Cruz Azul on the penalties.
What about you, Paula?
I mean, who's that guy? The guy who missed that penalty? Well, he didn't miss. Galese stopped the slow penalty kick that he did. He was like, "Let me shoot it. Like, let me just shoot the ball."
I need to find out how would it be if a team refuses to take the PKs altogether. He's like, "We are proud. We're not taking this sheet. No more. It's pointless."
Probably it's something that they need to look into for next season. If it's the scenario is like this, why a penalty shootout needs to proceed?
So do they get? Is it like a
Take a point.
walkover? Is it a
Like, take a
walkover?
point. I would take a
We
point.
get all
Bye.
the points if that happens. You imagine if one of the Mexican teams like pretty much walks away at the penalty kicks. Is that I'm not shooting this.
I feel
Probably
like
they get fined.
I don't
or
think that would
something.
ever happen, but I mean, will the team get fined? Probably.
Is there any other countries in the world that do this? Is this just like an American thing?
Yes, it's stupid.
I mean,
sorry, guys, but
I get that, like, there's not a lot of other sports in America that end in a tie. I understand that, but I think it's cool from like the table. I think it's interesting because you make more variation in points. That's good, but in this scenario, yeah, it was pretty freaking pointless.
Copa America was backwards. If they were tied, you go straight to penalty kicks. It was Copa America, yeah, Copa America. So this should be adapting something similar, but in the instance that the penalty shootout will be meaning something, not meaningless like this one.
yeah,
Just
they
saying.
should have added like a little amendment right there on the
But
Right?
this was new this
Disclaimer.
year.
On the
They didn't do this
bylaws.
last year.
Bylaws, yeah, terms and conditions right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little-
If
little-
this
little
scenario
asterisk.
happens, exactly.
Little
Winner of
asterisk.
1-2, blah 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 blah.
You can tell us what Paula does.
Well, that's the thing, man. We'd be tying these games, and then it's like, well, we won, and I'm like, well, did we, or do we just draw? Like,
Well, I saw a lot
I
of
will leave it as a
reactions.
draw.
I think it's more of a draw than like I always say, oh, we won on penalties, or like we drew and then we won on penalty. I would always say I would never be like we just won. I'd be like, well, it was a draw and then we won on penalties. But that's how I explain things.
Look, I'll be content if they come with such confidence, this team, as they did in this penalty shootout on every penalty shooter moving forward. So if this game against Cruz Azul goes to penalty kicks, I would like to see that same confidence. You
I
know?
mean, but I have never seen Orlando City, even when they were not with Oscar Pareja, being like not determined to win the penalty shootout. We're super good with the penalty shootout. And like you said, Luis, like we should be determined like this. So I'm not expecting penalty shootout on Friday. It's this Friday, right? But
Yeah.
I want to win. I don't want to be in that struggle bus trying to, hard act stressed, because I watch soccer, football, not to be stressed, but yes, this is my stress reliever. So I don't want to be in that position on Friday. But
That's
if it
right.
needs to happen, it will happen, and I'm confident that they're gonna win it.
75 people live. Thank you so much for your support. About 67 people on X and about 9 people on YouTube. Thank you so much. And also some people watching us on Instagram. I want to say hello to K Ma, huge friend and one of my good friends, and also huge fan of LAFC, of Los Cuervos. Um, to Geo Performance, to Lil Johnny Rivas, to Orlando's Life 14, to Nati Linares. Thank you so much. Josh Stahl as well, there watching on Twitter and watching on Instagram. I don't know if you have two phones, man, but thank you for your support. So then we go to the penalty kicks.
But this game is not yet over. We will go to a penalty kick shootout.
And this is where it became close, this is where I guess we go to point number 2 in our guideline right here that we have, our topic guideline. The running of the wall 2.0. So I know you brought your own footage, John, which was perfect. And if you could maximize it a little bit so people could see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, you see people running from one end to the other. There you go. And they're going to the other side right there. We're gonna say it's right there. Right there, huh? Now,
So
people didn't
it
like the name you put.
well, initially they weren't letting the people in. If you notice there, you'll see. And you watch on the penalty shootout, it kind of the crowd behind kind of fills out more. But yeah, I just posted, the running of the wall too, Leagues Cup edition. I think obviously the original running of the wall was very historic. So some people are like, this is not the same. You can't compare them. I wasn't, I wasn't trying to question the integrity
Of
of
course,
something
of course.
as amazing as that. I reported what I saw, and what I saw was the wall running like they did in that famous Open Cup game. Now, was it a smaller crowd? For sure. Was there people in that section on the other side? Like when it happened originally, there was nobody and it was an empty section. Yes, but was there many people there? No, not really. It was just funny because they tried to stop it and they did the announcement like, "Do not leave your section. Remember, City fans." And I was like, "Dude, they're all gone at that point. It was too late."
Yeah.
As soon as they knew that it was on the other side, the wall was like, "Well, we know what we're doing now." And they tried to stop them letting in, and that just seemed futile. Let it happen. This game had so few people in that there's absolutely no safety concern of this whatsoever, or any kind of like, hey, is this a problem? When the stadium is full with 25,000 people and they try to do that, yes, totally. But the idea of why it's so I think iconic is because if people remember that game with the original running of the wall, there was
Correct.
not many people here that night either. So yeah, I think it just anytime we talk about Leagues Cup and we're making a comparison to something that happened in the Open Cup, people are gonna get it's
A
gonna
little,
bring up that conversation.
little
We're gonna
salty, a
have
little
it.
salty.
No, it's fine. I'm like, look, I
Don't
want
get
to have
salty.
these conversations. And sometimes I can, I'll post stuff, and maybe that's just my opinion. It was the running of the wall too. I like to add little captions and ad libs and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people might think that I'm suggesting things, but really, this is what we saw. The wall ran. The wall
That's right.
ran once again.
Yeah. What about you, Paul? I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, you can see the passion that we have
Of
to
course.
support the boys in the other side. It doesn't matter if it's a semifinal or a final,
Or a
and
regular group game.
or a meaningless shootout penalty.
Shootout, right?
Exactly. You're
mean, it
still
was
supporting the
meaningless.
boys. Like, it's meaningless, but they still have to take them. So
Meaningless or
that's
not,
a practice.
the wall is running.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know,
So since go ahead, Lee. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No,
Paula.
I was gonna ask John, since the stadium was not packed, could you hear the boys talk to each other? Because normally when the stadium is not packed, you can hear like the echo and them talking to each other, and why not? So I'm just curious if you listen to something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had a few games recently where you can hear too much.
Mhm.
It makes me upset when that happens, honestly. And also because once again, there was no ILF, mainly Ruckus there, and they didn't have the drums. I don't know what was going on with that, but
Ooh, they didn't have the drum lines.
so
Yes.
there was definite periods of especially in that second half when San Luis were starting to get back into it, there was real quiet around the stadium, and that's something I'm used to hearing on a Pride game, but every now and then, especially during the Summer Cup, but not so much in a city game in a long time if I heard it that quiet.
I heard someone asked the same question in a Facebook group, Orlando City Facebook group that I'm in. It's not ours, but I think it's someone from the ILF that has that one. And they said, and I'm quoting here, they said that it was because their drums are really old, and because of the weather condition,
Yeah,
they were afraid of them bringing them out and then getting damaged, and then the kit cost like $20,000 or something like that. They were putting numbers, and I was like,
that was my thought originally. That it was
I
the
was
rain,
thinking about
which
that.
makes
Mhm.
because it's drum skins, they'll get wet. That's a nightmare.
yeah. I mean, it's
But they had them last game, so it's not. I don't think it's a protest or anything. I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Yeah, I don't think it was that. So that's so that kind of makes sense.
Full force.
I didn't make it because of weather conditions. Because I was in freaking Tampa with the sandbags all over my car. But the weather was. I'm glad that you guys didn't get it that bad. But here it was pretty bad. But either way, it's great to see people supporting the team, and they did the running on the wall, right? Obviously, it doesn't have the same meaning as the first running on the wall, but it tells you that even if it's a meaningless game, no meaningless game, a meaningless penalty shootout, quote unquote. They're there to support the boys, and I'm sure Ramiro, Duncan, Pedro, especially, they're like head over heels over that. I'm sure they didn't stop talking about it the whole weekend, talking about how the fans did that for them. So that's phenomenal. Victor Sanchez says, leaving soon to watch Colombia bet play Atlético Nacional game. See you at the next MLS game. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate it. Hopefully Atlético wins. I think they're playing America, right? Club America. So hopefully Atlético wins. We wanted to, just kind of, we finish the penalty shootout real quick?
Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, let's do it.
Watch these penalties.
Vitinho.
Oh, that was so close by Pedro, but
how much for Vitinho? You know what I mean?
this is a beast.
I think there's a lot of players like him out there, but he did impress in this game.
Hey, Vitinho, do you want to play in Orlando, bro?
He's like 20,
we have
23.
Angulo.
Next year, you know.
And just
Listen.
enough English to put it
I don't know if you noticed, but Galese has a quarterback thing on his hand, but he doesn't have like any paper. And I saw Cesar Baena like trying to give him paper or something, right? But he doesn't have it. So I was like, what are you doing here, Rick? Like, are you trying to put like the movement of each player on the penalty so you can see it and like study them or something? But in his defense, he didn't have any paper. But if you see I think his left hand has a black bandana or sweat thingy, and it has like a plastic. So it looks like the quarterback thing.
Oh, it's what the quarterbacks use.
Yeah.
He's got to write it on his water bottle. That's the pro move.
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't write it on his water bottle anymore. You know why, right?
Yeah.
You know what
Why?
happened, right?
I don't know, Luis. What happened?
So against Australia for the World Cup for the playoff,
Uh-huh.
he had it all written down in his water bottle. And the first thing the rival goalkeeper did when he saw his water bottle right next to
He threw it
he
away.
tossed it all the way to the end of the stadium. Trash. He said trash.
So that's why he puts it on.
And then he's like, oh shit.
They play dirty, these Australians, man.
Yeah. And then from
I
that,
didn't know it was a thing.
Pedro has Vietnam. He remembers of Vietnam after that.
I didn't know it was a thing in soccer.
Yes,
So-
PTSD of penalty kicks for sure.
Jordan Pickford always got his like full written out on the water bottle for England.
We did. No, we haven't.
I don't
No.
think we have. I think that's the first one. I was like, what's Dunk gonna do? Oh, smash it. That's what Dunk does.
Now, do you feel like Duncan is gonna go to I think he's gonna go. If he goes to Europe, he's gonna go to a team like what the one that Paxton Aronson was loaned out, Utrecht, or Zurich or something like that.
There's been offers from Italy mainly. It's the
From the B team, Serie A.
Yeah, Torino were interested at one point. So,
well, if I'm Torino, I don't know. I would. I mean, it's Serie A is a great. It's a great. You just got to make it. He needs to have the same momentum he had when he scored like 14, 15 goals.
We'll see, man. I think it's got to be the right club for the right money.
The right
That's the
club.
thing.
I agree.
We need a certain amount of money, and there's not.
Yeah.
Clubs like Utrecht aren't gonna bust out like five mil for Duncan. Maybe a mil here or there, but I think we're looking.
I don't even see it like a young boys from Switzerland.
Even that is high. You need like Europa League level teams, like low end Premier League, high end Championship teams. Those like German, like Union Berlin type teams that are willing to spend 5-6 million on a guy that might not start, but is going to be a good backup or something.
Yeah. Right there.
Salzlamonge picks out the corner. Up. Duncan McGuire scores.
Perfect. 2-2 after. Right there. This one?
He's looking into my soul, bro.
Right there.
He's like, yeah, what you gonna say now?
That guy's saying me. You doubted me. Mother.
Everybody trucker. Look in those eyes and say, I'm
you
sorry,
mother
Pedro.
Trucker said.
Never doubt you, bud.
This is for you. I got 2 words for you. That's pretty much what he's saying right there.
It's intense. It's
intense, man.
Intensity right there. It means a lot. The penalty that means nothing clearly means something to Pedro.
Yeah. The guy in the back with the USA jacket, he's like, yeah.
Right way.
I thought he was gonna miss, honestly, because when he's Brazilian, he does this whole like run is like a ballerina dancing. You know what I mean? Like ding, ding, ding. You know, I always put some special effects when he does that. You know, me and my brother, sometimes we watch soccer when they're taking the penalty kicks, they're like ding 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 ding. And then,
Rafael Santos.
fuck.
And it's
I
in
was
the
like,
corner.
The stutter step.
this guy's gonna miss. I'm gonna throw the rock to the TV if he
Yeah.
misses that. But he made it, so it was a shot really corner to the left with a lot of power. So,
Here you go,
what
Luis. This
this
is the other angle. You can see Dagger.
No, but great penalty taken by Dagger Dan for sure. Really hard shot. 95 people watching us live. Thank you so much. About 82 people on X, about 12 people on YouTube. Thank you. It says David Albury, they wouldn't let us in at first, then finally let us. Yeah, I mean, there was really right, John. There was no point of not letting the people in.
Yeah, I'll show you here on the this tab. You can see when Dagger takes his penalty on this other video.
Oh, right
how,
here.
yeah.
Oh,
You see, like there's a lot more people here at the end.
Yeah.
So you can see. I'll show you. There's
Was that
Dagger.
you screaming?
Yes, me screaming.
Come on, Dagger. Just kidding, John.
Dagger!
He's like this.
See, there's the wall.
Yeah.
It's funny when he scores and he celebrates. Doesn't really know where to go.
Because he's used to the stadium being packed.
Well,
There you go.
good for the boys, man. You know, it's a good win. You know, it's a draw and then a win. Still undefeated, John. Still undefeated. This marked, in my opinion, it was a great momentum for the Lions. You know, Ramiro Enriquez set a club record, like you said. The Lions improved 9-0 all time in penalties and 6-0 under Oscar Pareja in penalty shootouts. Pedro Galese right now also is undefeated in shootouts, guys. Undefeated.
Paula, I know you said I don't want penalties, but maybe we do want penalties. Maybe that's our, way to win everything. It's just take everything to penalties.
I mean, it's a
We're good at them.
It's a loving and a curse at the same time. So if we can secure a W, let's do it. But if we need to go in penalties shootout, I just remember I have PTSD in the Nashville game. Remember that game for the Open Cup?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I still remember that game. Like if it was
from New York
yesterday.
in the playoffs and Pedro coming off the line.
That too. But I mean, let's see what happens.
Something we didn't talk about the penalties, which is a major talking point, was the stupid camera, whatever it was, behind the net.
Like you don't even need that.
They just kept messing with it, and they had to get like the field guys are out there, like the operations team, like are out there, and Pedro's playing with it. I'm like,
Pedro kept putting his resume, cameraman tech.
The only thing I can think is is it required? Is it like filming their feet to see if they come off the line?
I think it's
that camera
for the
VAR. That's why he cared. Or else I'd just be like, who cares about the freaking camera, bro? Take the PKs. But that was the ref's peak of incompetence of him messing with the camera behind the net.
No, it's actually good for us because imagine if I would have acted like it's not my problem. Because then let them fix it. I don't meddle with it. Then if people start saying, "Oh, Galese stood past his line," I act like if nothing happened. I'm like, well, what?
Pedro wanted to go home. He's like, I'm hungry. Like, let's fix this camera so we can take the PK.
I like Wolf Shack's comment. Why did they have Pedro trying to focus on the camera like that's his job? Yeah. Pedro's got the good angles,
Like, we need a taller person. We need a taller person.
He knows how to position it just right.
It's 7 unbeaten, says Wolf Jacks. Thank you so much. I wanted to see the whole stadium behind that goal. Yeah, that would have been amazing. And I think that could still happen in the regular season, right? And now, I mean, I do want to see this. And again, guys, the next game is on Friday against Cruz Azul. We're gonna have a whole show about this. I'm gonna see if I can get a guest for that game for that episode. But we got breaking news, right, John?
Play the music, man. We got some breaking news.
Breaking news. Wait, hold on. Yeah, breaking right here. What's your breaking news, John?
We're talking about U22s and what we might do in the transfer market as we speak. 5 minutes ago, Tom Bogert. Sources: Orlando City working on a deal to sign Norway youth international midfielder Heine Gilking Brusteth, 20, for Christiansen, per Steenwall of the first reported talks. Could be a U22 initiative. The deal gets done, but Orlando has other options as well. TBD if it happens. So we're all talking about the transfer weirdo from the MLS soccer mouthpiece himself, Tom Bogert, there, letting us know that apparently we're in for this youth Norway. I mean, I like the sound of it. He looks like a dagger. He looks like a Jensen. I'm down.
I was
So
gonna say that, John. Oh my
wait,
god.
so he's in the under 21s Norway national team. He could play according to his data that I have here. He plays as a 10. He could play as an 8. He could play as a 9. And he has 14 appearances for Kristiansund in the Eliteserien. 2 goals and 1 assist and 1 yellow card.
Been in Norway U19, U20, U21 setups, so definitely looks like the right kind of guy. About very similar to Dagger in price, in experience, in the region of the world that he's in, the position that he plays. We gotta see, but if it's coming from Tom Bogert, that
It's
is
serious.
They're giving
official.
they're
Official
they're,
gets in
they're
MLS.
giving it, that's official golden nugget info for sure, and that's fantastic. I mean,
We have other options as well, he says. So, we're focusing on this guy, but at least this means we are looking to use that U22 slot this
for
window.
sure. Yep, we're looking to. That makes a lot of sense.
Can we get him and Sergio Roberto that he doesn't have? He's a free agent. We don't have to spend money on Sergio Roberto. Just saying, and he can play midfielder and left back and right back. Bye.
That's not a bad shout. Actually.
Another Swift knife.
I wouldn't say though to that, Ola.
Those are great news, John. I'm delighted to hear that we're going again for a young prospect with a huge future, and especially coming from Norway.
Could be a backup number 10 because, like, right now, if Ojeda's not there, who you want to put in that number 10 position. So if this guy can do both and even the 9, then that's And we're just missing that center back you're talking about, Luis.
Again, Orlando, low cost, high reward. In this case, really bright future ahead of him. So, playing for his national team in every youth level. So, yep, that's right. That's him right there. So, it's a good option. Good option. It kind of looks like if Dagger did the fusion dance with Van der Water. They
God, Van der Water, forgot about that dude.
and then they brought Hein. It's gonna be for me. It's gonna be hard. Hein Jingling,
Brusteth.
I don't know.
John
we need someone who's Norwegian to give us a pronunciation on this one.
That's where Anna Nelson's from, and Olaf.
Oh, okay. I'll go ask them.
Hey,
can I borrow your annual pass?
To Erling Haaland? Erling Haaland. We have the Haaland.
That's cool, man. I'm excited to see that we are maybe it means less opportunities for other guys, but he seems like he's a 10 more than anything. So we don't have backup, like I said, in that position. So it could be a nice pickup.
Yeah, it would be a great, of course, a great addition. I think it makes sense for Orlando to target youth players like this, and turn them into great assets for the team. So it's not the first time Orlando does this with a signing. Look at Ramiro, look at all these players that they've signed under the under 22 initiative. So fantastic news.
He's not played a huge amount of games, I'll say that, but
Yeah,
in my head. So young and inexperienced, but seems like the kind of guy we go after.
that's right. Anything else you want to add, John, before we go?
No, just excited for Leagues Cup to continue. Let's see, how we match up against Cruz Azul. Join us tomorrow for Pride Pod and Thursday to talk all about that.
Yeah. So Thursday we have the preview of Cruz Azul, and then we have tomorrow the Pride Pod. So, Paula, anything else you want to add before we go?
No, support the boys. Even though you don't like the Leagues Cup, I feel I smell the trophy. But support them, and I will be there with John supporting at
coming,
least as
man.
well. So
I'm not
I
coming,
like to say
man.
that. I don't like the Leagues Cup, but
I
I'll still go
mean,
support.
Even if
I
they win,
can't
I'm not coming, man.
Can't not support the boys.
exactly, John. That's my point. It's their job, so they don't know what is going on, but they need to, and they're there for win it. Like if you listen to their interviews, they're like serious business. We want this trophy. We want anything that involve a trophy. So if they're in it to win it, I'm there to support them. So
Brian Guerrero says, Hein Ginkling Bruce's eyes. There you go. Thank you, Brian. If you just came in and you've missed the whole hour and 28 minutes of this show, you can just rewind it, go to the beginning and rewatch it. Drop us your thumbs up and your comment. We'll read it on the next episode. If you're listening, thank you so much for your support. Also, you can find us as Loud and Proud Orlando. We are available on Instagram as LPO_podcast, on Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando, also on YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando, and we're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Before we go, as always, guys, thank you to all the 97 people watching us, and vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Orlando.